All right, we're here at the John Long Center where the University of Scranton Lady Royals defeated Christopher Newport 57-56 in a thrilling Sweet 16 matchup. Coach, your thoughts on tonight's game?
Well, obviously excited to survive and advance and have an opportunity to play tomorrow. Expected the game to be what it was, very physical, aggressive, 40-minute game. You know, I thought a lot of things were going in their favor most of the night, in particular the free throw line. They shoot 22, we shoot 4. It's hard to overcome that. So for us to be able to hang in there, make just enough plays, get just enough rebounds, and then survive those free throws at the end. You know, sometimes you got to get a little lucky too. And so we'll take it. And we're excited to still be together and still be playing.
Trevor, can you talk a little bit about first quarter? Your biggest fear was, you know, their press turning you guys over. You had 8 points in the first quarter, went 7 minutes without scoring into the second quarter, fell in that 11-point hole. What did you do though the rest of the way? Because you only turned the ball seven times in the remaining 3 quarters. What did any adjustments or what did they?
The challenge isn't just the press; it's that you can't simulate it in your practice. Mm-hmm. You know, so we can line up the way that they line up, but our players don't move the way their players move. They don't react and trap as aggressively as they do because we don't play that way. And so as much as we knew what we wanted to do, once you try to do it, it's not as easy as you think. And so we didn't really make many adjustments other than we just wanted to be a little more aggressive with both the dribble and with the cuts. I thought we were standing around too much, waiting for passes to come, and we just weren't open. And so we wanted the flashers to move a little bit more. We wanted the dribbler to attack a little bit more. And that was really it. It wasn't an adjustment to what we were doing, just how we were doing it.
For Bridgette and Makenzie, you guys fall down 11. Just kind of what's the mood amongst, you know, in your minds and amongst, the, you know, what are you and your teammates kind of talking about in huddles, on the bench, on the court, you know, being down 11, you know, that early on?
I think one thing that we all agree on is when something like that happens, it's you can't hang your head, and you can't give in to looking at the scoreboard and say, man, we're down 11. It's more of, man, we're down 11, let's go. Like, it's more of a kind of pump each other up, get each other going, and say, we play better basketball than this, and then go from there.
Makenzie?
I think I know definitely in the past we've been down multiple points in other games, and we've come back. I think in the DeSales game in the earlier season we were down by 18 at one point, and we don't necessarily look at the score. It's how can we play our defense, how can we keep our offense up, and I think what really helped us was that after the first quarter we really figured out their zone, their press and their trapping, and I think from then on, that first quarter, we were able to get out of it and make our offense work and get back.
Trevor, feel fortunate just to be down 4 at the half?
Very. Mm-hmm. I thought they dominated the half. It was definitely played the way they wanted it to be played. You know, it's so difficult. You can beat the press, and then what do you do? Because a lot of times you're open, and do you want to take that shot or not? And so we talked about that throughout the week. We had to be really smart with our decision making once we broke the press. I thought we were better at that as the game went on. I thought you saw Mace get the ball in really good spots late at the tail end of the press. Those are shots you always take. We wanted Bridgette to shoot it anytime she was open on the back end of the press. But other people, you know, there's maybe some questions. So I thought the kids did a really good job of making decisions under severe, heavy pressure, which is, you know, kudos to them. They are terrific players, and they showed it.
Several possessions, you know, you stayed within 4 in that third quarter. You know, you'd get close, they'd go back up 6 or 8, and you get close and they'd go back up. Then when you got it to, I think within 2, you had 2 or 3 possessions where you could have taken the lead or tied the game and missed. Just, you know, were you starting to think maybe it's not our night? You know, we've had our chances and we're not capitalizing?
Yeah, at that specific time, I remember the time you're talking about, we got it to 1, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And then had 3 or 4 possessions and couldn't score. And I said something to my assistant that we missed a big opportunity there. Mm-hmm. I thought the other thing was it's hard to get into a rhythm offensively or it's hard to, what I meant to say is, we get it to 3 or 4, and then it seemed like they'd go to the line, and that would break their dry spells. And so we couldn't keep them from getting to the foul line, which allowed them to sustain points, even when they weren't getting baskets. And we weren't getting to the foul line, so when we didn't get baskets, we got nothing. And once we did get the lead, it obviously was a huge part of the game, just psychologically for the team.
Bridgette and or Makenzie can answer this. She hit a bunch of big shots last week, but Taylor came up big with that baseline drive, the 3-point play early in the fourth quarter that put you guys up. Just talk about the way she has kind of emerged in these these tournaments always seem to have unsung heroes, and she's kind of emerging as your unsung hero right now for the for the first 3 tournament games.
I would say she's the type of person that she's always going to give you 100% on defensive play. She's going to dive for loose balls. And then on the offensive end, it's almost like she hits a 3, it radiates to everyone, and it kind of gets the momentum going for us and kind of makes people, say like, okay, like keep going. And I would just say she's a tremendous player, and she's a great teammate, and she hits big shots when we need them.
No, she's had an awesome season. Obviously, she's known as a 3-point shooter, but she just comes off a spark off the bench, and she's great defensively. She's scrappy. She's all over the place, and she hits the open shot when we need her to hit the shot.
Bridgette and Makenzie, how helpless is it sitting there or standing on the foul line, 1.7 seconds left, you're up 1, and they're shooting 2 shots. What are you guys feeling? What are you thinking? How kind of helpless or maybe frustrating, or just explain your emotions at that point.
Well, I think we need to thank the fans. They were awesome. When they all stood up like that, I'm like, I think we have a good shot, because she was making her foul shots the entire game, I believe, and so that was huge. I had a feeling she wasn't going to make them when they all stood up. I have to hope she doesn't make them either. But that was awesome, and because it's a helpless feeling, you can't do anything about it. So it was a relief, and I felt bad for Hannah because she thought she messed it all up, but we're like, it's okay, it's all right.
Bridgette, you especially, you're a senior. This
Yeah.
might be it. That they go in, and that could be it. It could be we could be talking to you later.
Yeah, that thought definitely crossed through my mind, like thinking, it all comes down to this. But in the back of your head, it didn't really necessarily. Well, obviously, like the outcome would have came down to those 2 shots, but there was things during the game that we could have did better, and it kind of just. The whole game kind of flashes before you, like if I didn't turn the ball over there, or if I made that extra pass. So there was definitely a scary feeling, but even when she missed the first one, I said, okay, she makes the second one, we're winning in overtime. So it kind of never doubted us.
Familiar team in front of you.
Who we got? Who won the first game?
I don't know.
The Knicks?
Yeah. Well, if it was the Knicks, it'd
Might have a better shot.
Obviously you're very familiar with them. You've been in this position before. Just talk about tomorrow night's game.
Regardless of the opponent, to still be playing, there's 8 teams left, and we're one of them. One win from where everybody's trying to get. Our kids are missing spring break this week, so I said to them, let's win one more game, and we'll do spring break in Virginia. And but it's a big hurdle in front of us. It's not a revenge game. It's not a get back game. It's one game for this group to continue writing their legacy, and that's all it is. It's nothing more, nothing less than that. It's one more game for this group. So we'll be ready. We'll prepare hard. We can't play mediocre and win. They're a champion, and you've got to beat the champion. They're not going to beat themselves.
Bridgette, I wonder if aside from the tournament, if you could just comment. You've got a couple of individual accolades this week. I know you probably haven't focused on that because you're still playing, but getting to play in that All-Star game, being named to that team. I know you hope you're not playing because you got something else to do that day. And then today, the senior, I think, was the scholar athlete for the conference. Can you just talk a little bit about receiving those awards?
They're both definitely very humbling awards. But to be honest, I've said this since day one, I don't get any of that without the support of my coaches and teammates. And, you know, I look at the All-Star nomination as kind of like a team thing. The fact that the University of Scranton, a player from that team, was recognized really says a lot about the school and the players on the team.
2 more questions.
I'm gonna hold mine unless anybody else.
Can I throw one out for Coach? Coach, talk about the fight in this team. This team has withstood just about everything up to this point, including tonight. Talk about the fight in this team.
Yeah, the old saying is toughness is hard to find, toughness is hard to teach, and toughness is hard to beat. And so we have some, we've shown some. And I think that gives us a chance every game. It doesn't guarantee anything, but if you don't have it, you're pretty much guaranteed to not go anywhere. So, you know, I don't think, you know, speaking out of school to say this team's tough, they've shown it. They've earned that title. That's one of the characteristics of this group. And so when you have that, you got a chance. And like I said, I want to continue to spend time with this group. I feel there's a love and a chemistry that's developed, and I don't want it to break up. I don't want it to end. I don't want it to be over. And I certainly don't want number 13 to play our last game. So toughness is, you know, we're going to have to be tough if we're going to win tomorrow. That's for sure.
Awesome. And then for Bridgette and Makenzie, Bridgette first, start of the fourth quarter, you especially very fired up, yelling to the group, "Let's go white." Tell us about the start of the fourth quarter.
I mean, I think that whole senior thing came into play just because, you know, you're winding down on the minutes and stuff and realizing, like, at any moment it could be it. And I'm definitely not ready to stop playing with my best friends. I mean, over these past few years, it has been the best time of my life, and I'm not ready to let go. So I was just trying to express that to them as much as I could without actually getting all soft on them. But,
Stay tough. Stay
Yeah,
tough.
the point came across.
yeah.
And Makenzie, as a teammate too, start of the fourth quarter?
Well, obviously we don't want her road to end as well. But, I mean, I was actually talking about this with Julia today. It's just, we're not a very, like, loud team to begin with, and we're very calm. And I think that whole game we were calm. It was getting
Not all of us.
crazy. Yeah, not all of us. But, I mean, there were times where it was getting crazy, and we're just like, all right, we need to relax, just hone in, focus in, don't get too crazy. But it was a tough battle, and I think the fourth quarter, I mean, it was a close game, and we knew we had to come out guns a-blazing, so it was good.
Congratulations.
The last question.
The last one. Trevor, something else just dawned on me. Number 45 for them, the big girl, Terwilliger, hitting those threes outside. Was that something caught you guys off guard? Were you familiar with?
You would think by the look of it, but no, we, you know, there was plenty of tape that we saw and statistics. We knew she could do that. You know, we just didn't do a good job of closing her out. Again, habits all years. There's not many 6'2" centers that you got to worry about out there, and so you have 29 games of habits or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden, hey, you can't do that anymore. It's hard. So I thought we did better later, but still, you know, kudos. It's one thing to be open. It's another thing to make it.
Mm-hmm.
She made it. And so that, you know, she deserves credit for that.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
See you tomorrow night.
everybody. Congratulations.